fix my face first.
No, I don't. No, you can decide when we go live.
Kick me out or something. Oh, I see us. Very nice. Very nice. Hi, everyone.
Nothing else you want to say before we go live? Good job.
No, I'm good.
All right. We are good. Hello, everyone. Let us know how you're feeling, where you're logging in from. How are you doing today? Today's been a great day.
What's been great about today, Sean?
That was for you to say, yeah, today has been a great day. I didn't want to explain myself. I just wanted an acknowledgement and agreement.
Okay. Take two.
Today has been a great day.
It has been a great day.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. It does feel like, so this is Thursday as we are recording it. It feels like it's the 11th day of the week, though, for me.
I would agree.
Whatever that 11th day is, that's today. That's what today is.
To be honest, I feel like it's the 11th day of last week.
Oh, good. We haven't even gotten into this week yet.
I haven't even gotten here yet.
Perfect. You're getting compliments on your shirt. Do you want to share what your shirt is or says?
Oh, thank you.
Several people have complimented, not just now.
Be kind. Yeah, which is different than nice. I used to want to be nice. I don't want to be nice anymore. I just want to be kind.
Well, let's get into the content.
Is that to protect you? That's to protect you.
No, that's great. That's great. We can just go on and on. So welcome, everyone. We are answering questions again today. That seemed to be a pretty good hit when we did that yesterday when we recorded it. If you want to see any of these live videos that we've been doing, these 30-ish, 30, 35, 40-minute videos or so, yes, on all kinds of topics, including answering questions, then go to the Facebook page, Coach Sean Smith, facebook.com/Coach Sean Smith. Click on videos and go to the playlist, The Foundations of Coaching Success in 2021, and all of them are there. If you want to go much, much deeper into the principles for massive impact and income and success as a coach, then you can go to Coach Sean Smith /Coaching Success 2021. We're doing 5 deep dive trainings. We've already done 2 of them. They're available on archive immediately right now. And it's all about the foundations of what you're going to need going forward, how the market is changing, all the stuff that is critical. So let's get to some questions. The first question here is, if you were starting your coaching business fresh, given that you've got your seeker and your niche defined, what are the first 3 things you would do or create to market your service? It's a great question.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of people are not doing what they should be doing for where they are. A lot of people are at square 1 and they're learning from people that are at square 10 and then trying to model square 10. You know, they're trying to copy that. There's nothing wrong with learning from people that are way ahead of you, but you got to know what your next step is. And the people that most of us are probably following online or offline, doesn't matter where, are probably way ahead of us, and to some degree at least. And what they're showing us is not what our next step should be. Oh. So if we try to just follow what other people, whether it's the people that we're following or somebody else's blueprint, or it doesn't matter, but if we try to follow something that's not our next step, it's not going to work. The other thing is, and I'm going to get to to the answer to this question, but I just want to set this context also, is that there's no right or wrong, in my opinion, and there's no legal right or wrong. There's nothing that you can or can't do when it comes to marketing. There's no consensus in terms of the path. And so there's a lot of bickering out there. I think there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of overwhelm over the right thing to do. And that's pretty much a waste of time trying to figure out the right thing to do, because it doesn't exist. And what's right for me is probably not going to be right for you. So instead of seeking right and wrong, I want you to seek aligned. Is it aligned to you? Everything that I've seen out there works for somebody. So that means it's right for them. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's right for anybody else. And there's nothing out there that I've seen that works for everybody. So this is about find the thing that is aligned for you. And here's how you can tell. When you try stuff, does it work? When you learn what to do you do it? If you have a lot of resistance over doing the activities that you know you should be doing, or you're telling yourself you should be doing, then you probably have an alignment problem. That probably means you're not aligned with your message or your purpose or your seeker or some kind of a fuel. Unless you're just brand new and you don't have any skills that you believe in or anything like that, then that could be the first step for you. But if you know what to do and you're not doing it, you're probably just misaligned. And I think most people will end up quitting because of misalignment. I don't think I've ever said that. That hit me just to hear it come out of my mouth.
Yeah, and it's misalignment misunderstood as inadequacy, or misalignment misunderstood as deficiency.
Yeah, or being wrong, and so I got to change, fit into the thing that I'm misaligned with.
Yeah.
Because the only thing you can fit into that's misaligned with you is something that's not you. If your puzzle piece isn't fitting into the puzzle, then you need to change your puzzle piece or change the puzzle. And I don't suggest you change your puzzle piece, at least not the essence of who you are. So what I would do is I would do seeker interviews, which means get clear on who your seeker is. There's a couple components to this. Get clear on who your seeker is, who's the person seeking the lessons that you have. And then interview them. Find them wherever you can. Find them online, find them offline, send out emails. You want to get into the mind of the person that's seeking you, because your biggest asset is your seeker's perspective. If you really truly understand your seeker's perspective, they'll write your entire business plan for you. They'll tell you what products to create, what prices, where to go, because that's who you're serving. So you want to get into their head as much as possible. And the best way to do it is actually literally ask them questions and get answers directly from them. So I would do that. And there's a lot to that. I'm putting a big perspective on that. And we actually teach an entire in-depth how to get clear on your seeker and how to do these interviews and what to say and all that kind of stuff. Can we put a link up for that? Maybe, Michelle, we didn't
already working on
plan that earlier. Number 2 is I would then go out and see who I could talk to. Find groups that have your seekers or somebody close to your seekers. Find them online, find them offline. When I first started, I pulled out the literal phone book. I pulled out the yellow pages and I looked for people that sounded like they had an organization or a group that I could go talk to. And I just called them. And I said, do you bring in speakers? And if you do, are you the one I need to talk to, or do I need to talk to somebody else? And if they said yes, then I asked them when I could come talk to them. And so this is one of the things that I think most people don't do, is some form of belly to belly direct message, actually talk to people. Can I speak to your group? So there's offline groups and there's online groups, and just get out there. You have a product. If you believe that the product is valuable, then shame on you for not trying to get it out to people. Number 3 is when you're ready. This isn't necessarily immediately after this, but when you're ready, start building an audience when you have this clicking point. An audience meaning collect email addresses or you can do social media audiences, although email addresses are a little bit more controllable than social media audiences, because social media audiences run on algorithms and it's their rules and all that sort of stuff. So when you can get people on an email list and you own your relationship with them, then that's usually a little bit more stable relationship. Now, one thing I want to say about this idea of finding your clicking point and then building an audience, there's a business principle that's just traditional business. Doesn't have anything to do with coaching. And it's called proof of concept or minimum viable product. And what that means is you got to prove that people want your thing. You shouldn't like go do a Super Bowl ad for a product that you don't know people want. Right. You don't know if it's going to deliver. You don't know if it's going to break. You got to have proof of concept in the product. And way too many people are jumping out in their attempt to be visible and doing marketing, whether it's paid marketing or even free marketing, without knowing whether the product is viable or not. So that's what has to happen to find this clicking point. And then once you have the clicking point, and that clicking point for me is, you know, the product that people want, you know, the person that's looking for the product, you know, the platform where you can find them, and you know, the pathway that you're going to offer them to get to your product, or what your product will offer them. And once that happens, now your business can explode. Once that happened for me, our business exploded, and we did almost $300,000 the next 10 months. But most people don't put in the work enough to get to that proof of concept, or to get to that place where they have a clicking point. And then the last thing I want to say is, I'm not going to put this on everybody, but if you're struggling to build clients or make sales or whatever in your business, my suspicion is, if I had to bet my life one way or the other, my suspicion is, if I were to take a look at all the things that you're doing when you're in your business or when you're working on your business, if we were to take a look at all the activities that you're doing, where you're putting your time, my suspicion is the vast majority of the things that you're doing do not have the capability of creating clients for you. They don't have the capability of growing your business. When we take a look at business growth activities versus business management activities or admin activities or anything else like research and all that stuff, the majority of businesses don't grow because there's not enough activities that are happening that could potentially grow the business. And so that could be something that you look at with what you're doing in your business. Does this activity even have the possibility of getting me a client? Does this activity have the possibility of having somebody join my program or buy a product or something like that? And I'm not saying that all of your activities need to be growth activities, but most people's businesses are not growing because they're not doing things that could grow their business.
Oh, well.
Got anything different to add to any of that? I mean, what are your answers?
Like, just the simplicity and the power of that very last statement. I remember the first time I tracked the growth activities versus the management activities, and I was highly upset with.
Probably pretty embarrassing, right? As did I. Same thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even close. Like, it was like just ludicrous. I mean, like I don't remember
single digits, probably like single digit percentage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So for me, I thought about this actually looking backward at what worked and what didn't work for me. So I too would do seeker interviews, and that is what I did initially. It absolutely worked. So looking back, that's at 100% what I would sign up to do again. I would continue. Another thing that I did that worked really well for me is I would coach for free, and then I would follow up with an offer. I was willing to coach. I was just willing to coach, period. If somebody even asked, like, could somebody help me with that? My hand was up. Yes, I was first in line because I wanted to get good. Like, I wanted to be a good coach. And then I practiced, because of all the free coaching I was doing, I practiced making my offer. And a lot of the coaches that I talk to aren't confident or certain in their offer because they're not having enough conversations. So they're not practicing that enough. So just the act of coaching and then offering got me practicing both things. And then the third thing that I would change about what I did is I would stop trying to be perfect and get it right. Like Sean said earlier, the right thing will slow you down. I did this later on in my journey. I redefined what right was to me. And it would be my definition of what Sean said, which is alignment. I decided what was right is what felt good to me, what felt good in my soul and my spirit. So the third thing that I would do is stop trying to be perfect. I would follow my intuition and take inspired action without needing to know the details of the outcome. So that would mean a post, an article, an offer, a program, a download. There have been multiple things that I have thought about creating in this journey, this time, that none of them have been birthed because I was trying to be perfect instead of just taking action.
Yeah, we can't say that enough, that in this industry, especially coaching industry, you just have to take ignorant action. You just have to take action when you don't know the answer, because the answers that most of us are demanding are unknowable. They're literally unknowable. And yet a lot of us don't want to take the step until we know the unknowable answers, or we, as you always like to say, perfect the irrelevant, irrelevant, not irrelevant, perfecting the irrelevant. All right. Number 2. Do you feel like you can help anybody with anything? I think that question was directly posed to you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So go ahead and answer.
Yes. Yeah,
Next
I do.
Question. Oh, you want to explain that at all?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, okay. So before you explain, clearly you haven't helped everybody with everything. So that's not based on evidence, but yet you still have certainty that you can.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to highlight that. Because a lot of times we're looking for the evidence of the things that we're trying to do. And okay, so if we've done it before, then we can believe that we'll do it again. But yeah, go ahead and explain that. So how do you get that level of certainty?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not because of, it's not only because of my skills. One of the things that I learned very early on in my journey, both as a coach and as a client, was that the coach actually didn't provide the breakthrough. The coach didn't give the breakthrough. So my coach didn't give me any of my breakthroughs. I don't give my clients any of them. That's theirs. Like the breakthrough is the individuals to step into, to walk through. And so because I believe deeply in the power of the human spirit to heal and to transform itself, I have faith in that, because I don't believe that our human spirit wants to stay stuck. I don't believe that our human spirit, our desire, is to be in our sabotage or in our protection patterns or operating and walking inside of identities that don't serve us. I don't believe that our soul and our spirit wants that for us. So if somebody is in a coaching relationship with me where they've shown up and we're like co-creating the experience they desire, the transformation, it's in them. And because I know that, then I believe that I can help bring that out of them. And the other part of that is that the work we do, it's honestly kind of annoyingly simple. I went through a embodied experience maybe about a year ago where I got a little bit irritated because I've taken all these trainings, which I love, and I've done all this work and I've studied, and I wanted to feel like really, really important, right, Sean? I wanted to be like, I am so smart. I have all of these tools. And I was out on a walk and I just realized, I was like, all we really do is like one thing. Like it's so incredibly simple. It's just like it's just helping people like I label it as come back home to who they really are. and the work we do is just so simple. Humans are the complicated part, but the work is simple. And the deeper that we go, when we stop trying to, I believe the complication is in all of the details. The complication is in the belief that I need to understand everybody's different issues. I need to understand all of the different addictions. I need to understand all of the differences that are up at the surface. But if I drop below all of that and understand like how a human works, what a human's core desires are, what their core fears are, then it just becomes very simple. It's almost like an analogy we use in our certifications. We talk about going underwater, and it's just quieter there, and it's more simple there. And because of my trust in the human who wants to heal, not all are willing, but all are capable. I firmly believe in that. Not all are willing. In fact, I believe most are not, but all are capable. So because of that, and then because I understand human behavior at the root, like the details don't really matter. So I don't need to understand all the details of everybody's specific situation or problem, because I swim at the depths. I don't wrestle with the surface details at the top of the water. So yeah, whatever it is, bring it on. I got it.
My probably just my version of some of the things you said, but some of the thoughts that I had as you were talking were that we are like self-healing organisms.
Yeah.
And since we tied our knots, then we can untie them, but we won't do it on our own.
Right.
But the answers are inside. And so if we have faith in that or understanding in that, and then you understand the human behavior, like you said, that will inform the questions. If you don't really understand the human behavior, then you can't all the time ask questions that will lead to the coaching revelation, let's say.
Right.
And we use this analogy in a different context recently, but if you were looking for your keys and I told you what room of the house they were in, and you knew the keys were in that room, you would look differently in that room. You'd be more committed to that room than if I told you the keys were in the house.
Right.
If you just knew the keys were in the house, then you'd look in that room, but if you didn't find them right away, you'd probably go to another room. As soon as it got too uncomfortable or you wondered whether it was over there, you'd probably be tempted to look in another room. And then if I said, not only are the keys in that room, but they're in that bag, you would go through that bag and you would stay committed in that bag because you know that's where the keys are. So in this context, we know the problem is in here. We know the liberation, the revelation, whatever it is that's going to release the client or dissolve a conflict is in them. So then we can have the advocacy and we can be committed to going in there and find where the keys are. Actually, I didn't mean to make that analogy as a key to like unlock the cage, but it's true. I mean, that is where the key is. The key is inside the person. And when we're giving our advice or giving our solutions, then we're giving them something external. Sometimes that's important, but most of the time it's not necessary. And I would say probably most of the times that coaches do that, it's not important. And it's not only not important, but it could actually be somewhat damaging. It could be damaging to the rapport in the moment. It could be damaging in the sense that you give somebody an answer that they don't receive because it didn't come from them. So there's an art form to coaching, but it's based on the science of human behavior. And then we can hone in on where the challenges actually are. And because of that, just to bring it full circle to what you started, how quickly you answer the question, because of that, if we know everybody can be helped, and then we know that we understand how to ask questions, then yeah, we could probably help everybody. But we don't think that we're actually helping people, right? Like it's, I mean, it is our questions, but the humans doing the work. So hopefully that makes sense. I know we went deep on that one like we always do on all these questions.
What?
We
So unlike us.
We try to teach to competence, not to convenience. Number 3, how do you present yourself on social media as a coach? That's probably a better one for you to answer.
All right. So it's a great question. Thank you for asking. Like all of these are, I appreciate your questions. I would present myself authentically. Like I wouldn't try to be, and I don't actually try to be anybody that I'm not. So I show up as I am. I speak as I am. I communicate as I communicate. I write how I write in the style that I write. I present what people are going to end up seeing and working with because
anyway, right.
Because, and I used to not do this. So I used to take down posts. Like I would post something that was authentic to me. And then if it didn't get a reaction or it got a reaction I didn't like, I would just take it down. I would remove it. I used to think I had to show up the way that everybody else was showing up. And then what I realized is that people who like me, they like me. And the people who want to work with me want to work with me. So let me be who that person is. Like, I don't see myself as like Coach Michelle as an identity that I put on. Like this is me. So if we work together, I'm going to coach you in the same style and the same energy as I know for a fact is true with Sean. We're just the same. This is how we are in our families. This is how we are in our lives. This is how we show up on social media. So authentically. Now, with that in mind, if it is, with the purposes of building your coaching business, then show up as a teacher. So teach what you know, share your lessons, right? And this will be depending on where you're at in your journey. But for me, whenever I have an experience with something, whether it's an aha I have, a realization, a breakthrough from a coaching session, I think about how can I teach this? What's an element that somebody else out there needs to know about this? How can I make this valuable for somebody else? I don't write my social media copy with the thought of how can I get people to opt into my list, or how can I get people to purchase my program, or how can I get people to send me a direct message about coaching? Not that I don't want those things. They're great. Right. But I write to teach because what I know is that people will follow and want to be around where value is delivered. So I deliver value, and I show up as a storyteller, sharing my authentic and true experience, and then offer perspective on how somebody else can implement that in their own life.
Show up and deliver value. Yeah, that's great. The only thing I would add to that is just be consistent. Consistency is so critical, especially in today's world. And the more truthful we are, the more consistency is required. Because the people that are needing our truth probably need to hear it more than once. Yeah. Because we don't tend to just trust somebody immediately, especially online, just with one encounter. Right. We want to know that they're going to keep showing up. And that's another big reason that I think a lot of people don't get the traction that they want, is because they just don't show up consistently.
Yeah.
So we got several more questions just because of the length of the video and our answers to this one. Let's skip this next one and let's answer the final one, because this is a relatively quick one.
Perfect.
Does your story have to have a positive or happy or uplifting ending? You want to start, or you want me to start?
Why don't you start this time?
Aw, thank you. You're welcome. So kind. You've been paying attention to your shirt.
I have been.
That's
always
awesome.
Looking down.
Yeah. So I didn't even hear what you said. What did you say? Always what?
Always looking down.
Always looking down. Perfect. The short answer is no. There are plenty of really, really impactful stories out there that don't have some kind of an uplifting or positive ending to the story. but you've got to be respectful of, and there's another word I'm looking for. You have to serve your audience. That's not the word. And if it comes to me, I'll share it. But you got to serve your audience. So if you're going to tell a story, be intentional with the story. The story doesn't have to have an uplifting ending, but there has to be an uplifting takeaway. There has to be some positive thing that the story can that the audience can take away from your story. So the story itself might end with the, like I tell a bankruptcy story. Now, my business didn't end with bankruptcy, but there's positive takeaways from that. A lot of people have stories about relationships that they sabotage and might have been a great relationship, or relationships where, it just ended, or death of loved ones or friends or what have you. And so even though there's not a positive ending to the story that you're telling, if there's a positive takeaway for the audience, then it feels like there's a positive ending or an uplifting ending to the overall story, your story and the story you give them, your story and their takeaway. And then they can at least walk away and go, I can do something with this.
Yeah, I agree. And to that point, like for me, I would just want, the person that wrote this in, I'd want you to define what you mean when you say happy. So that particular word, like, are we talking about uplifting? Are we talking about the takeaway Sean's speaking to? Or in your mind, does it have to have gone the way that you wanted it to in order for you to tell the story? Like, just check in with yourself as far as your expectations or the standards, like the check marks that you're creating to say, okay, this is a story that I like, that's okay to share. And the other thing, and this ties into what Sean said, is if you're still in the story, right? So if you're still working through it, if you're still healing from it, if you're still in your grief or your emotions, your attachment to your role inside of the story, you might just not be in the vantage point to be able to share the story with the positive takeaway to what Sean was speaking to. When I was in the depth of my like painful stories, I couldn't see like the other side, the takeaway. But when I was through that, then I could stand. A lot of people say on top of, I say beside, like I could stand beside my story and see the value. And even though some of the most impactful things that I've written touch, like they make people like, but the end, right? Like where I take you on a journey. So where you get to, and Sean is the same way, where he's told stories that I've been bawling in the middle of, but at the end, there's a message, there's something for me to hold on to, that the story delivered, like the story carried me on a journey to the takeaway. So where are you in relationship with your story, and how are you using it to deliver the message would be what I would add to what you said.
Yeah, that's a good point. The story is a delivery mechanism. So what are you delivering?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll stop here for the sake of this video being 30-ish minutes. And as many of you know, we are telling you about the ECCP course that's coming up. Many of you have gone to it. Some of you don't know about it. It's a 5-day deep dive at the depths. It's really where we teach, based on all the things that we've learned and what Michelle was referring to, the depths of human behavior and the depths of human transformation, and removing beliefs and stored traumas and energy and all the stuff in the body. But it's not just the healing of the negative. I mean, it's really about taking control of the mind. So one of the great things about our style of coaching, which is called neurotransformational coaching, is it's about taking control of your neurology, healing what needs to be healed, but installing what needs to be installed, or tapping into something that needs to be tapped into, so that you can be more present, you can be more successful, you can achieve some of the goals that you might not be achieving because you got better control of your mind, you got better control of your mindset. So I think a lot of people think of coaching as just one side of the spectrum or the other. And that could be because that's their experience of it. And I think for a lot of people, that is the experience of, kind of therapeutic coaching where it's just about healing, or motivational and informational coaching where it's just about going toward a goal. And the reality is both of those on their own really are insufficient.
Yes.
I mean, you can heal all the wounds and do all that work that provides like a therapeutic release, but then what are you going to do with your life, right? I mean, there's got to be some level of action. But then if you just try to achieve without uprooting some of the anchors that are actually causing us the sabotage and the resistance, then that's just going to be, it'll be miserable for most of us. So this is really a well-rounded, complete, holistic approach to human behavior and what questions to ask. And there's an embodiment piece, an ingredient that we all need to go through. If we want to be transformational agents, we've got to go through the transformational process. So ECCP, for those of you that are interested, is a 5-day, it's all online this year, or at least this upcoming month in August. It's a 5-day deep dive transformational process. So you're going to go through all the layers of learning that are required to do this kind of work, but have the certainty in asking the questions that gave Michelle the ability to say yes so quickly when asked, do you think you can help everybody or anybody with anything? How long would you say it took you to get to that point? From the moment you said, I want to be a coach, just ballpark, what would you guess?
A year.
And how many coaching sessions would you guess you did inside that year?
Oh, goodness. A lot. Over 100 hours of coaching. I can guarantee that.
Right. So most people just don't ever get there. They're not willing to do the work. They don't want to do the work because they're not confident. And then it just becomes this cycle of rejection and cycle of resistance where I don't want to take action because I don't feel good about my abilities yet, but you can't grow your abilities until you take action. So it's this catch-22 double-edged sword cycle that so many people are in. And that's one of the reasons why it's critical to be inside of a path. We're really proud of the bumper rails that we give people, like just do this. Yeah. And sometimes what we need to be protected from the most is our wandering mind and our doubts and our insecurities and what if this and what if this. And one of the things that we do in these certificates, certification courses is like, listen, just stop. Okay. Put your blinders on.
We got
do this exercise right here. This exercise right here. Just do this. Okay. And then do that. And then do this. Listen, we've been doing this for a long, long time. Thousands of coaches trained, hundreds of coaches certified, dozens of these events. We got it, right? Like we've done this over and over and over again to where it's a predictable path. It's a predictable machine. And you mentioned something in the context of healing, I think. I don't know if you used that exact word, but everybody's capable. Most people are not willing. Everybody's capable to learn how to be a transformational agent. Most people won't just because they're not willing or for whatever reason, and I'm not trying to throw people under the bus or use any kind of demeaning sort of energy, but that's just the reality. This can all be taught. So if you're willing to stay in the game and learn, this can all be taught. And you can also, when asked by anybody else, if you believe you can help anybody with just about anything, you can also answer quickly, yes. So if any of that is interesting to you, go check out the page, coachseansmith.com/ECCP. If you have any questions about anything, then please let us know and stay connected with us here. Watch for the notifications as they come along because we're going to keep doing more of these videos, answering a lot more of your questions. If you do have a question, go ahead and type it in the comment section. Yeah. And we will see you soon. Anything you want to end on, Michelle?
Celebrate Jennifer Reed, who's signing up for ECCP tomorrow on her son's birthday.
Awesome.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Great birthday gift.
Yeah, for real. For him.
Cool.
actually. Yeah. No, I'm excited to see everybody tomorrow. Some really good questions.
Excellent. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.